weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for September 10th, 2025. And we have a few updates to go over, as yesterday we did not post one for the evening time. So I had other things that came up, and then also Kiko being on her way out, which we had got confirmation of that today. She is officially a remnant low, meaning no further updates will be published by the National Hurricane Center regarding her. She is still over there by Hawaii, increasing some of their their swells in the ocean, and of course rip currents. Beyond that, in the eastern Pacific, we also have this wave over there by southern Mexico. Has a high percent chance of becoming something tropical, 70% in the next 40 hours and 90% in the next 7 days. It looks like it will stay offshore though, and just kind of parallel to the coast, which is good news as it tracks west and northwestward. We'll go ahead and take a little bit of a closer look at that. So here are some of the models that they're thinking of where it will be. So you can kind of see a starting point all the way down here, keeping it very well offshore. Can change between now and then. It's possible, but before it gets closer. But it looks like right now that it's looking good. Let's hope it continues to stay this, and we'll stay paralleling off the shore. This is the Euro model run for that. GFS, again, similar to the Euro, keeping it well offshore, some of it even taken further out west, southwest from the shoreline, which would be even better news, is considering we don't know how large it actually could become in terms of its size. Let's see if it gives us an idea here. No, it does not tell us roughly how size. It looks pretty narrow from where they have the hatched area, but of course, that's not really indicative of how big, if it does become something tropical in terms of tropical storm force and or cause because it was a hurricane, the hurricane force. Let's look at what they think the intensity will be. So the model is most of it keeping it as a tropical storm, few taking it as a Cat 1, and even fewer taking it as a Cat 2. So not looking like a major one, and probably not one that's going to impact land, if very much, if at all, which is good news. Of course, we'll continue to watch it and see what happens with Invest 95E. Beyond that, I know in the past few days we've been talking a bit about, since the demise of Invest 91L, that kind of quiet. We're now officially in the very peak of hurricane season. Today is essentially considered the very peak day. So from this point on, we should start seeing a little bit of a downward curve. Will this season be like last year, where it was mostly backloaded, meaning we had the worst storms, and then of course most storms form at the end of the season? With a lot of people saying that will be the case. It does kind of seem indicative, just kind of how the season is paralleling, as I mentioned previously before. It's not unusual for seasons to kind of mirror each other. We usually see pairs of it. So my examples of this was obviously 2004, 2005, and 2016 and 2017. So will this be a season that kind of goods paired with what we saw in 2024? Time will tell. But we do have a new area of interest, not Invest officially or anything. It is a wave coming off the coast of Africa, of course. Right now it's over there by Cabo Verde Islands. Very low chances right now given to it. 0% for the next 48 hours, and lows 20% for the next 7 days. If you remember what 91L went through, it started low and it got higher, and then it kind of just petered out, fade out because of all the dry air. Will this be a system that will have similar issues being surrounded by dry air? We'll take a look at that in a moment. It's kind of too early to tell right now what we can expect, but we will see if this one does actually become anything official. Again, we're kind of in a downward trend, but doesn't mean we can't see an increase or pickup toward the latter half of the season like we did last year. So time will tell whether this will become anything or not. It's actually really funny considering the fact that it seems like Atlantic might have been hearing what everybody's been saying. As you can see, this was posted earlier today on my Facebook page. I believe I also posted it here on YouTube in the shorts. Some areas that we were already talking about considering where we might see some development. So the one over here in purple, as you will see in another view I'll give you in a moment, we are seeing some convection and cluster of thunderstorms over there by the southeast coast. Could that form into something? Again, National Hurricane Center doesn't have it marked or anything, but at this time of year, when the water temperature is being correct for it, and with lingering fronts, you can't really rule out a possible spin up of something closer to land. It's not completely out of the question or unusual. So we'll have to see what that does. There's also some talk with some of the other earlier model, well, I shouldn't say earlier model runs. Some of the model runs that they've been doing for like mid-term range, not short term, but mid-term. So we're talking about probably next week and the week after that. There's been some talk about possibly a CAGS system forming, as we saw last year with Helene and Milton both being that, meaning you'd get storms trying to form over here by Central America and southern Mexico, Belize, and all those countries down there. We are seeing moisture and thunderstorms, kind of building up and doing their normal thing. Can it spin something up, fire something off that could travel into the Gulf or into extreme Western Caribbean, which, can't rule out. That is a possibility. And then, of course, we also mentioned down here by Cabo Verde Islands and, of course, Africa, where we are seeing monsoons coming off, which then become tropical waves into the Atlantic that could eventually lead to a tropical system developing. So we did post this earlier today. So it's pretty funny that something has gotten marked by the National Hurricane Center in that area. So again, we're still kind of waiting to see where these two areas will do, if they will become anything or become a marked area by the National Hurricane Center. But right now, we are watching this area. And here's a little bit of a closer view of some of the areas that we're talking about by satellite. So, as you can see, we do have some storms kind of firing up over here off the coast of Georgia and the Carolinas and Florida. South Florida has definitely been getting its fair share of some nasty weather for the past few days. If you remember last week, we did see there was a type of low in the Gulf that never became anything that was causing a lot of rain for western portion of Florida coastline on the peninsula as but this time now we're seeing that it's kind of moved over here, and now we're seeing all this firing up. You can sort of see it looks like there's some movement that might possibly try to form as something in terms of rotation. Spin up. We'll have to wait and see, but there is definitely some convection. It did look a little bit more impressive earlier today, but with the sun going down and all that, you probably can't expect a lot of daytime heating to help fuel that up. And then, of course, we'll continue to watch this area. You do see a little bit of convection firing up over here, but it should be progressing worse as we get through the rest of September into October. And then over here off the coast of Africa, definitely see some waves that have already kind of come off and just kind of simmering out there. And of course, more. So obviously, this is the season typically where we do see our greatest risk coming from um, off the coast of Africa. So it's definitely an area worth to watch. And then, of course, about some of the issues that 91L did have issues with obviously the dry air, even with the conditions being right. So all the dry air is being shown in yellow, orange, and red. So it looks like a lot of it's kind of moved off a little bit closer into the Caribbean, and definitely a little bit north. We see some convection down here, and of course we see a long, kind of looking like a train of tropical waves coming off Africa, and definitely convection there. Now, of course, you see the blue surrounding that, and including over Africa, a large portion off of over the African coast and continent as a whole, and that is indicative of more moisture. So we may not get so much more Saharan dust as we have throughout most of the season thus far, and that could help fuel again for a more backloaded season. And of course, we do see some more convection kind of firing up over here, a little bit further east than where we have marked as a possible watching area. So we probably will want to continue to watch that as well. You can sort of see what looks like to be at least some level of the winds moving and rotating a little bit. And you can also kind of see it going in the opposite direction over here, which would be part of the Bermuda high, or at least influenced by that. Of course, over here, you can definitely see some more convection as well. So we'll continue to watch that going forward. I love to show the direction of the winds. I think it's very interesting. It's fun to watch, and you can learn a lot, I feel like, from watching it. So before we go ahead and get started, let's take a look on the Pacific. So you can see kind of over here, this is the area where that wave is off the south west coast of Mexico. Definitely it's got some spin starting to come up. Not super tight or super strong, but it's definitely getting some kind of rotation. Interesting enough, we also have something a little bit over here. Looks like it's trying to rotate. It looks a little bit more impressive than this, except it is elongated. And then let's see where Kiko is. And you can definitely see here, she's definitely got curvature where she is, but it's not actual full rotation. So she has definitely come a long way from where she looked previously. Okay, let's go and look at off the coast of Africa. So you can definitely see some of the winds kind of moving in two different directions. Around over here, we'll have to kind of see if it continues to tighten up. Let's go look at some of the other levels of height. Got the same as surface. Okay, got a little more rotation there. Again, not tight or super good. Again, look at this trying, but nothing super strong. Same. Same. You can see a little bit there, a little bit more again, the curvature of it. And of course, there you don't have any of it. So, probably why did you have it rated low right now? Can it get itself together? It does have a lot more moisture kind of enveloping around it that might help keep it a little bit more juiced up and able to become something more fully formed and better formed. But only time will tell, which will also kind of show again what the outlook for uh, the next 2 weeks looks like. And then over here, again, so we don't see anything over here in this area. Not surprising, like I said, it really kind of more or less will be something that we have to kind of wait and see what happens in the next week or two. I don't think it's anything an immediate threat over here. And then over here, you can see some of the wind. There's a little bit of curvature over here. Wind's going a different direction. But again, nothing super tight. We can look at least a few more of different heights over here. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything, so very well we might not see anything. Now we do see an elongated rotation up here, but I don't think we need to worry about that right now either. There's definitely should be a little bit cooler waters than what we have off here. So we'll continue to watch that. And then for the outlook for the next 2 weeks, the National Hurricane Center is thinking sort of the troubled areas that we mentioned previously. Obviously, off the coast of Africa. So the striped hatched area is 20% or less. The solid red is 40% or less. So we do see over there by Central America and southern Mexico and Belize and the Caribbean, Western Caribbean, there's also an area. Definitely see a lot more risk over here on the southern portion of Mexico. And then for the following week, again, 20% kind of for all three of those areas going forward. So right now, we don't have anything solid or official we're watching. We do have two areas of interest, if you will, that we are monitoring. Right now, neither are a threat to land. Looks like the one off the southern coast of Mexico should not probably be a threat to land at this point. Again, can it change? Yes, it could. Time will tell. Will this thing be able to thrive and survive and not be choked out by dry air? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, we are seeing more moisture in it. Is that going to be enough, though, to help fuel it and get it to form together? We just don't know at this moment. So we'll have to continue to watch and monitor. So thank you guys for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any videos that you want to suggest to me to post, please let me know. I know I keep saying I have more videos coming. I do. I do work full time, so that does eat into a big portion of my day. So it does really kind of leave some of those other video creations either night or in the evening, kind of like where I do this in the weekend. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of those out sooner rather than later. I am always open to suggestions, so please. And also feel free to like my Facebook page. It is linked onto my YouTube channel, where I do post a little more frequent updates. I do post a lot of the same stuff, at least the shorts on both places. I do have actual, like, static posts, which I need to get back into posting on the community page here on YouTube as well. And, until then, I will talk to you guys next time.